Welcome YouTube, this is Emperor Dion. We're going to start things off here with getting things back to its original purpose because as I've mentioned a lot of times, this is not a black pill channel, this is a gold pill monastic channel. And what better way to start this off with my next series of uploads by kind of telling you guys more or less how I got into the monastic thing. So the truth is, I've said this before too, I'm not the original founder of the monastic ideal. There was someone who actually got me into it. And so, things kind of went south between me and this individual, but during the time when me and him were kind of like involved with each other on forming a lot of these monastic ideas, we had a little thing going where we were making content on a separate channel. He was the one doing most of the talking, but like, this guy, as far as I'm aware, he could be dead by now. He was quite old, but he could be dead by now. I don't know. Haven't talked to him in over 6 years. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take one of his old videos and re-upload it here to kind of give you an idea of the fundamental core of the monastic ideal and what the merits of the monastic ideal is. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. This is the guy that more or less taught me a lot of the things and the concepts of the monastic lifestyle.
Hello, hope you're having a good day. And like I said last time, we're going to talk about some things. I think the best way to start is with the 3 G's. That's got to do with your rite of passage. The 3 G's fundamentally are goodness, greatness, and generosity. That goes along with a man's nature and his basic instinct to provide and protect. Being good doesn't really mean a whole lot of anything except being of beneficial use to others. And it, of course, implies that you can't be of beneficial use to others unless you're of beneficial use to yourself. Now, greatness, on the other hand, that's one of those things that you have to do throughout your life, of course, just like goodness, really. And it just means being good at what you do, everything that you do, always giving it your best shot. Generosity just means that if you're good enough and great enough, long enough, you can afford real generosity. Now, not the fake kind that people pitch out there all the time. I'll let you think about that and what that might be. Men basically want to provide and protect. That's part of the old dominance instinct. That's why you want to take care of those you care about. It's one of the reasons that he develops that old justice-based mentality and morality, and why he wants to solve problems and get things done, because he needs to do that. And in order to do that, he's got to really look at the world the way it really is, gather all the evidence, come to some conclusions, and take some action. Fundamentally, why men are the way they are. It's just your reproductive instinct telling you that that's what you've got to do. And there's nothing really odd or unusual about it. And it will always lead you into wanting to be good, wanting to be great, and wanting to have generosity. That's just the way you are. Now, that can be perverted. Actually, it can be used to make you into a slave even. It's been done quite a bit throughout history. First part of your rite of passage is understanding who you are. Might as well understand who you are and what you can give and what you can't. You will probably be confused, wondering what you should give, why you should give it, and so on and so forth. But that goodness part, you have to remember, is always about doing the right thing, being of beneficial use to others. You will find in your life that if your identity is wrapped up in something else, being a father, being a husband, being a good employee, being a patriot, whatever the hell it might be, that you don't really need all of those identities. If you have an identity that says, I'm a good man, I'll be good at everything I do, it doesn't matter what else you are. And they can't take that away from you. They can take away being a father. They can take away being a patriot. They can take away your country. They can take away being a husband. You can get fired from your job. But as long as your identity is, and I'm going to be of beneficial use to others, they can't take that away. You have to give it away. And that's one of the roots of freedom, is having the responsibility, the accountability for being that. Having the authority to say no to anything that stops you from that. At any rate, let's move on to the next one next time. And that'll be the 3 F's. That's female nature. You guys, you have a good day. Hope you're happy with the way the day goes, and I hope you do something today that makes tomorrow better. At any rate, see you next time. Well, gentlemen, today we're going to talk about the 3 F's. Now, an old man told me this back when I was 14, 15 years old. We're talking over 50 years ago here. And it's feeling fashion and what women can think they can get from sex or the promise of it. And that last one, well, in the old days they had another F in there. You can use your imagination, you know what goes in there. But anyway, feelings, they don't have feelings like you do. They basically never love the way you do. They're not biologically set up for it. I've got a little video by TFM that explains the biology and physiology link down here, and you go ahead and take a look at that. It'd be a really good idea to take a look at that, actually, because it explains to you why they are not biologically, physiologically, or mentally capable of loving the way you do. What most men do is they project onto women the way they love, and they think they're going to get that back, but that's not the way it works. And you just need that. It's kind of like the fight or flight instinct. I'll tell you a little bit about that so you get an idea how the physiology and biology works. Now, mammals have something in common. All the males have this thing called testosterone. It allows you to focus. Focus in a way that women can never really focus. Men, once they hit puberty, they've got pretty much an unlimited supply of this stuff. Women, on the other hand, never have but about a 15 to 60 second supply of it. I guess a good example of that would be a mama bear. You got about 15 to 60 seconds once she gets your attention to get out of the way. Because what the body does is it mixes testosterone with cortisol and allows you to focus. Now, in 15 to 60 seconds, she's going to run out of that. And what happens after that is that the body starts mixing it with adrenaline. Now, cortisol, that is. Now, what happens when you mix adrenaline with cortisol is you get a panic attack. This is why women do 5 times more drugs, antidepressants anyway, than men do and stuff like that, because they just can't deal with the stress. It's why they don't charge machine gun nests, work digging ditches all day, and so on and so forth. It just stresses them out too much, aside from the fact that for most of that stuff they're not really physically up to it either. But anyway, I'd check out that TFM video if I were you. But basically they evolved that way. They have to seek assets. They have to have it brought to them, because as I'm probably going to say many times, they spent most of evolution tied down, unable to work because they were busy, well, making a baby, and sometimes taking care of them and stuff. They didn't always do that, but that was the general idea. Now, it's a chemical and development issue is what it is, and it goes through their biology, their physiology, their mental development. It even affects their the type of morals that they like. Men like justice-based morals for a variety of reasons. We'll get into that later. But women go into more care-based morals. A justice-based moral system pretty much lets you think about things way out in the future. A care-based morality system is based on what you get today. That's just the way that works. Now, you got to remember, when you're talking to them, you can't get mad at the water for being wet. You only can give what you have, and you always give what you have. So basically, they're doing what they can with what they've got. Now, the next one will be on the 3 S's, and we'll doing these in shorts and making them into 1 5 or 10 minute piece after that. So what you need to do is to get with us next time, see how that works out. We'll put them together so you can have a little 5 or 10 minute video that does them all, and then we'll start getting into the 2 kinds of people they are, the 5 behaviors, that sort of thing. Anyway, y'all have a good time, and we'll see you next time. Enough said. Well, gentlemen, let's go ahead and get on to the 3 S's. I was kind of surprised when I first started getting into Manosphere to hear these things, because they're old like a lot of this other stuff is. They've been done in different ways, but this one was kind of the same. It's called shit testing, shaming, and sex. Those are the 3 S's. Now, these are the weapons used in the conflict between hypergamy and dominance, and they can be good or bad, but we'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, shit test is basically an incremental escalation. It's one of those things that women do on a regular basis, and men do too as well. They just keep asking you to do something better than the thing you did the last time. So if you pass one, the next time it'll be more. It can be either give me more, as is usual on one side of it, or do better. Like, well, you didn't hammer that nail well enough. Here's how you do it right. That's a little shaming too, can go with that. And the sex part, well, that's always the promise of or possibility of that sort of thing. And it pretty much gets into it that way. Now, generally speaking, it's a methodology of distraction and misdirection is what sex is usually used for. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're saying something or doing something somebody doesn't like, they can distract you pretty easy that way. And anybody who doesn't think that's true just hasn't been around enough women, I guess. They're tools, like I said, they're bad or good. Both sides use them. They can spur you on to higher performance or used as a way to tear you down. They can be malicious or beneficial. It's a matter of the goal of the person using them. They're trying to teach you something or trying to get something. They're trying to make you better, your life better, or make your life worse. It can be used both ways. So one of the things you've really got to remember is that whenever you come up on this, the way things feel, it's always going to be an emotional battle, a sophist argument of some kind, something that sends you off in that direction. Usually, if it's malicious, it's designed to get you to not think of the right way to do things. If it's beneficial, it's designed to help you out, help you do things better. That's just the way it is. And what it looks like is always a really important thing. That's why you got to remember to be good, to try and be beneficial use to others, to try and be that great, better at everything you do, so that you can afford to be generous someday. That's just about how it works. And one of the major things that you really have to look out for is who it's beneficial to. Is it beneficial to you? Is it beneficial to others? Or is it just beneficial to one person at the expense of you or others? That's something you've got to look at. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody's doing this, they're either being malicious or they are being beneficial. And that's what you got to look at. Who's it hurting and who's it helping? At any rate, one of these days you're probably going to put that all together and be able to recognize it pretty easily, but it's kind of hard. Most of you have been raised in a society where your feelings are always being touched and you're always being manipulated that way, and unless you've actually had a chance to sit down and think about it and put things together, like the 3 Gs, the 3 Fs, and the 3 S's, it's kind of hard to recognize. So what you need to do is, whenever someone's asking you to do something, step back for a moment and think of it that way. You'll find that very often you come away with a different perspective on what's happening at the moment and what's happening overall. So good luck to you. Enough said on that. And we'll start talking probably about things like the 2 kinds of people there are on the 4 basic human behaviors in the next one. And like I said, we'll put these together into one piece so that they're 5 or 10 minute things you can listen to all at once. But I kind of like to break them down and put them out like that so that you have something to chew on that didn't take you a whole long time to listen to or understand. At any rate, boys, see you next time. Enjoy the fire, get yourself some barbecue, have a drink, relax, let some iron sharpen iron. We'll talk to you all later. You all have a good day.